So how long will the renovation take?
The renovation at the motel right now, the 8 rooms, we're right now waiting for an electrician. We're gonna get all the baseboard heaters working. Right now, we're running half the baseboard heaters, half the space heaters. Once the electrician comes in, I called what is it, Bass here in Riverton. They're supposed to send somebody out to look at it and give us a quote to get the baseboard heaters going. And once them are done, we can get the 13 rooms on the front side done. And that the spring, we have to wait for the thaw for the backside because all the pipes froze and exploded on the backside.
Ouch.
And that's whoever was the manager before Perlito was there, and that didn't turn off the water, and the pipes just exploded back there. So we have the back 8 rooms, and that have to be all repiped.
Makes you feeling better. They were broken 2 years ago.
Say pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let the roll call show that all are present and we do have a quorum. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make the motion.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Been moved by Councilwoman Harkey, second by Councilman Stettler to approve the agenda. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion passed all in the affirmative. Communications from citizens. Please introduce yourself and
Hi, my name's Todd Bergman. My title is the site manager for Love Hotels Incorporated. Our location, the Desert Inn here in Shoshoni, Wyoming. We have recently reopened with 8 rooms available right now at our location, and we're planning on renovating the whole motel and getting things ready.
could you expand a little bit? Everybody's listing timeline on what you think you have going.
The timeline right now is the 8 rooms that we have available are should be up and fully operational within 2 weeks, and that we have DirecTV coming out to install DirecTV to the whole site. And that's so DirecTV with a 125 channel package will be available in all the rooms. The rates currently are $79.95 a night, and that $209.50 for a week and $859.50 for a monthly stay. We offer extended stay options, and if you look at the math from the extended stay options, our weekly extended stay option is about $35 a night plus tax, and our monthly extended stay options are about $25 a night plus tax. So there has been some commenting on our Facebook page and that about the rates and the prices, the average pricing being between $90 and $200 a night for a motel room in the general location. So our rates are actually very competitive to other motels, and we are making it our priority to get these rooms done as quickly as possible. We're working with our local executive manager and to find contractors to come in and actually finish the work that needs to be done. And we're also working with the local community to try to promote through our Facebook page and our social media to bring income into this community, because if our motel is profitable and people are coming here, they're spending money in this community, and that benefits the community. So we really want to be open to a two-way line of communication, both between the city and our motel. The plan is to have the RV park open by this spring, and that's so it's available for the fishing tournaments that are coming in town. Some of our other plans that we have done at other motels is for major events in cities that we have been located in with motels, and that we have provided catering events in that at our motel for guests and people that are coming to those events. Our goal is to have this motel operational this year, fully operational with all 21 rooms being available and the RV park being completely open for these events.
You know, this is good news. A motel in our community, a good motel in our community is an asset. You should also communicate probably with the school district because they have events come in, some regional district tournaments and stuff like I know track come up. There's no motel, there's no opportunity for anybody to stay here. But we also need a cafe. So if you have any ideas.
Unfortunately, our company looked and assessed the cafe when they bought the Desert Inn and the amount of damage to the sub plumbing to the place. It was not financially feasible for our company to purchase the cafe as well. I thought it would have been a good idea too. That was the first thing I asked. Did we buy the cafe too? Because I'm a certified sous chef, and that would have been right up my alley. And that it'd been nice to have the cafe and be able to offer a continental breakfast at the cafe and be able to offer an option for people to stop and eat. One of the things that I'm working on right now is I've been talking with the people at the Fast Lane about getting their active menu for their deli bar there. And so that way we can have an active menu down at the motel. So our guests can call in orders and be able to have them ready for pickup at the Fast Lane. So that way they have the convenience of, sitting in their room, being able to call, being able to order something, come and pick it up and then bring it back to the motel.
Yeah, Fast Lane I know it's going to have an expanded menu over what they have now.
Yes.
So I think that's a big improvement.
I'm just curious, on the signage outside, I know that the motels kind of, are you planning on working on that too? Or?
Yeah, this year, the plan was on our last managers meeting, we have a group WhatsApp where all the managers, communicate with the owners and the regional manager. And the plan was to get the signs redone at all the motels this year. I don't exactly have a timeline on that yet. I know the neon sign did work at one point this year. And so one of the things is like I said, we're having an electrician come out and look at some things. And perhaps one of the things to put on that priority list that I will talk with our regional manager about getting that neon sign fully operational.
Well, the reason I asked though is because, it's been open, close, open, close. So as people come through, they assume it's closed. So that I think would help.
Yeah, I recently put the lettering up on the motel. Anybody that's drove by says, yes, now we're open. So, and that's that way people driving by can see that we are open. I am actively advertising on the USA Truckers Facebook page. So that way truckers that are coming through will know that we're open. I'm actively advertising on the Shoshoni, Wyoming page, the Shoshoni Buy and Sell page, the Riverton page, the Wyoming Council of Tourism page. And so we're getting the word out that the motel is open. We do have rooms available. Most of our rooms are booked through oiobooking.com, oiorooms.com. However, when we have availability at the motel, when it's not booked, walk-ins are more than welcome at our motel. Now, I've given my phone number both to the Lucky Five and to the Fast Lane. So that way, if we have people like tonight that are stranded due to the weather and the passes being closed, they can call to check availability. And I will gladly open up a room. Right now, I have 3 rooms open right now. So that way, if somebody calls while I'm down here at this meeting, they don't have to wait in the cold. They can go in the room and when I get back to the motel, I'll finish their booking out.
Well, I'd like to get that information from you just for our perspective, because we do come in contact with some people from time to time that need a place to stay and things of that nature. And it would be very nice to be able to have that here. Also, I'm not sure if you're aware, there's another sign that's down off as you come into town.
Yeah, I seen it. It's pretty dilapidated.
Yeah, so
Yep.
I was gonna ask if you were going to look at that maybe, or
I've noticed that sign and I haven't been able to address that with our regional manager. Our regional manager right now is doing a tour of all of our motels right now. So he's on the road until later on next week. Once he's off the road and he's back home at our main office in Florida, then I will have more access to him to talk to him about the sign issue, the sign outside of town, perspective, project management, what our goals are, what our benchmarks are that we want to meet this year. I know the current benchmarks are to get all 21 rooms operational by the end of this year. The next benchmark in that they have is to have the RV park open this spring, and they're looking at the feasibility and the cost of having the sewer pipe to the RV park dug 1 foot lower below the permafrost line. So it doesn't have the problem that it had in the past, that during the winter, the sewer pipe froze and we have sewage backing up in the RV park. So they are looking at the feasibility of having that repaired and lowered down, so that way the RV park is available both for ice fishers in the winter, snowmobilers in the winter, hunters coming in with their RV. Being this is a Second Amendment state, it's going to be something new for me, because in our other motels, it was a 2-stage carry. And that at our motels, ammunition and weapons had to be in different places. But we always adapt to whatever area we're in, and that we welcome hunters, we welcome people to come in, and that as long as they're abiding by the local and state laws, and that we have no problem with any guests that are there. 2 things that we do, we will enforce very harshly is illegal drug use on our premises. We don't allow any kind of illegal drug use on our premises. If somebody is suspected of possessing illegal drugs, and that I will be making a call to the local law enforcement and having them come out to the property. We don't permit, well, there's a level of disorderliness that you always permit at a motel. People are going to have fun. They're going to have a little drink. They're going to have a little loud, but we don't permit the disruptive, violent behavior on our property. And that's another thing that I'll be working with local law enforcement. I've always been open to working with local law enforcement. We went from a 0 enforcement at Advanced Motel in Ironwood, which was a previous one that I managed, because the reputation of the motel was so bad before I took it over that the police just did not want to touch the motel. They did not want to get involved. I operated the motel for 3 months. Within 3 months, the view on that motel had completely changed. The police were highly interactive with our motel, and we developed a very good reputation with the local law enforcement, and that by removing the meth, the fentanyl, and other hard drugs that were present at that motel.
Well, I've seen the pictures. I think it looks a lot better and looks real nice.
Yeah, the pictures look great.
Just for your comfort, we haven't had a shootout in Shoshoni for over 40 years
Hey, I'm good. Like I said,
that I know about.
like I talked to the chief here, and that my wife plans to be packing when she comes out here, right? And that I just wanted to find out what the actual laws were on that, so that way we were in compliance with that. I'm a hunter, and that so I wanted to be in compliance with whatever laws that are here.
Nothing in town.
Yeah, nothing in town, but I've already been invited outside of town to go shooting, and that once my wife arrives here.
We have a rifle range just right out the edge of town.
Yeah, that's what I was told. Tom told me that. Tom Henderson told me there was a rifle range right outside of town, and that I also was invited by I forgot what Larry's last name is, but he was our contractor and that on the property here, and did some work for us. And he says, once your wife gets out here, if you want to go shooting, we'll bring you out to my property. You can shoot the TVs and everything else that are out in my field, and have a good old time. So I'm looking forward to this. This is my last stop. When I made this tour with the motel, I told them I wanted to take this motel and this was going to be my last stop. Me and my wife were looking to settle our roots here. We like the fact that this is a slower, laid back environment. We like the fact that the people are highly interactive. Our Facebook page has been only active since February 2nd. And because of the love of this community and that we've already reached 19.2 thousand hits on Facebook. We got 89 members of the community following, another 11 members. We get free advertisement from Facebook, which is a great thing because when Facebook prioritizes you and that, it brings you business.
Look forward to it.
Yep. Is there any other questions?
I'll say thank you, Todd, for coming down and being so open. And hopefully if you need anything from me at least, or any of us, just let us know. Whatever we can do, we certainly will.
I've already talked to, I forgot what your name is. Yeah, I already talked to Gary in that the one thing that we were still looking for was a list of the big local events and the actual dates when they occurred on. And that because, like I said, our motel, they try to accommodate those big events. And if it's a large event like the fishing tournaments, like I heard those are like really huge here, and that they like to do special things like catering or have some special event around those events. So, and he said he'd bring that list down to me down at the motel and meet with me. So that's great. You need me to sign on this piece of paper here too?
If you don't mind.
Yep.
Not required, but it's nice.
And I hate to leave you guys right after speaking, but I got to get back to the motel. The passes are closed, so I've got to open the doors back up to make sure that we have rooms available for people that need them.
Very good. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you for your time.
Good meeting.
Consent agenda. Approval of the minutes, January 31st, 2023. Approval of the bills, February 1st, 2023 through February 14th, 2023. Kind of a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So move.
Been moved by Councilman Zen. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Hardkey. Can I have, is there any discussion? No discussion. All in favor, say aye. Approving the consent agenda. Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion passed, all in the affirmative. Public hearing, police vehicle sale. Could you enlighten us, Chief?
So about a year and a half ago, the town of DuBois reached out to Mayor Highsmith about trying to get a PD started in DuBois for various reasons, traffic control and tourism and just having their own PD. So they wanted to try and get our help. And at the time, we had, the Crown Vics that we had that were getting phased out. And so in anticipation of that, we had talked to them about, we would be able to help maybe have a vehicle that was going out of service with us, but that they could utilize initially to get started. And then that kind of went on hold. And then with the new mayor that just came on, they contacted me and asked about getting some assistance and help on getting a police department started. Being that we have the two Crown Vics still that we're looking to get rid of, they're both outfitted currently as police vehicles with lights and an outdated but a functional for now radio that will get them by. And so selling them that vehicle, helping them out in that way would be advantageous to them. And I think that just mutually the connection and the working together amongst small towns in Fremont County is a good thing. So, basically, we can't just give them a vehicle, but we can sell it to them for $1.
Will they do the repairs?
Yep.
So for $1.
But because it is property, we have to have a public hearing and present it to council. So, but it's not real property as a I spoke with Marshall to ensure that we, advertising things like that, but since it's intergovernmental
Right.
and it's not real property, we just have to have a public hearing and any public input on it. And then that's it. So that's the intention, is to help them get started with one of the ground mix.
I have no problem with it.
And it may take them 8 months to a year for them to get their own police car.
And they're planning on getting.
Yeah.
They get a new one.
But this at least get them started, and
Correct, that they've already hired a chief, or they're in the process of working that out.
I believe they have identified, I'm not sure where.
Okay.
Where that.
Where
is
that
as far as-
action is, but yeah,
They have a candidate.
they have a candidate. Maybe more, but yeah, to move forward, yeah, so they're planning to move forward with this.
Yes, sir. And I believe they plan on getting a second officer in the near future as well. So they're gonna try and.
It makes them eligible, correct, once they get one, they could go the same route that Shoshoni did.
I believe that's kind of what their intention with reaching out to us, is kind of trying to, I wouldn't say emulate, but at least imitate some of the things that we've done.
Chris has given them some good guidance on help them get started, yes. I know while I was in Du Bois, multiple times been complimented on our PD and how we're protecting our citizens from speeders. Du Bois, Shoshoni, we got a straight shot, Chris and I talked. You know, Du Bois, they do slow up in the middle because they gotta make the corner, but they still get zooming around in there. And they have really got a tourist issue with the summer in particular. But, you know, there's concerned citizens up at Du Bois that are concerned about the things that go on, speeding and other things that go on into. And they do have a county, which I think's done a pretty good job for them, but the county doesn't enforce municipal code. And so they have some of that that needs addressed also. So I think they have the will of that to try to move forward or figure out how to fund it and stuff. But Chris has done a really good job on guiding them through the hoops.
Should we close the meeting real quick, go to public hearing and meeting again? I mean, if this is a public hearing, not,
Do we got to advertise the public hearing to give the public notice?
Already did.
Oh, okay, okay.
That's
well, then I'd make a motion that we close the regular meeting for the purpose of having the public hearing. Or, I don't remember all the statutes, but I remember Teresa.
So that's referring to Robert's Rule of Order. And that's one of the, it's kind of a suggested way to do things.
At the WAM boot camp, they said if you're having a public hearing, you have to close the regular meeting. That's what WAM's people told me. Did not how you, or did you interpret that differently?
Not real sure.
What?
Not real sure.
Well, you were there.
I know I was there. I was trying to think. We have. that
And I know
book.
there's a handful of citizens that would prefer, and it don't take any different. It didn't take it but 10 seconds to do it. And then I think it would help us in peace in the community is why I make that motion.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. We adjourn the regular session meeting and going to a public hearing. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye. Aye, pose same. Motion at 7:24 suspended. I mean, the meeting at 7:24, 7, and we're into a public hearing.
Wonder if anybody wants to speak.
We got 4 people online and I don't see any hands up.
A public comment, we're discussing selling a vehicle to the town of Du Bois, one of our old Crown Vic police cars, fully equipped, they're responsible for any repairs as is condition for $1. Anybody have any comments on selling our surplus equipment for $1 to the town of DuBois to help them start their police department?
Sell both of these
Please,
cars or just one?
Please step up. Gary, introduce yourself. I don't pick on you, then I gotta,
Yeah, I know.
Pick on everyone.
Somebody to pick on.
well, got it,
The
yeah.
only question I have is, are you gonna sell both of them to Du Bois or one?
Just one.
Okay.
Any questions online?
Seeing.
Any other comments from the city council?
I make a motion, we resume regular meeting,
Do we need to close the public hearing first?
close the public hearing and open the regular meeting. That's what I meant, thank you. That's what I was gonna say.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Been moved by Councilman Statler that we close the public hearing and go back into regular session. Been seconded by Councilman Zant. Any further discussion? Then being, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Pose same. Back in
7:27.
at 7:27, back into public's, back into the regular agenda. Ordinances 2023-2-11. Town officers' salaries and wages, second reading.
Ordinance 2023-2-11, as previously read into the record with the following changes. At the advice of the town attorney, the preface was added to give some significance to why the ordinance exists. And then the change made for the deadline of the primary election, prior to the primary election. Sorry, prior to the filing deadline of the primary election.
Okay, we don't have the word deadline here in my copy. It says filing period for.
Okay.
So I'm just asking, do we need that word deadline that you said?
You and I talked and you said add deadline
Yeah.
after we,
Okay,
just so it's specific.
yes. Okay.
What's that?
The filing deadline of the primary election.
Instead of
Everybody.
prior to
School. General.
Yeah, everybody's
Instead of
in
the
all of
general?
us.
That's
Better
what
than an
the
Amber
motion
Alert.
at the last meeting.
Yes.
Okay,
We changed that wording.
School. School starting 2 hours late tomorrow.
On the first reading was approved with
I'm
that
surprised
amendment.
they haven't canceled.
where would be prior to the
There was
Primary.
2 vehicles on their lid and one
The final.
sideways in the borrow ditch.
others really on the filing as for the.
We
I
got
can't
page
remember.
1 that got canceled, I guess, over
It was approved with the amendment.
at B and K.
That's
Councilman
probably the one I
Zant,
saw about
motion,
5:50,
got a second on
6
it
o'clock
to approve
somewhere.
it with that
Yeah, they
It was-
amendment. The last meeting,
And
the
on
first
that,
reading.
but
We got 1022. I didn't.
we said
I
the
just
road
read
was
out
all right, and it wasn't a
what
lot
third
of
reading.
traffic, and there's no sense being out.
I
It was pretty. brutal.
can't read it. I don't have it on my screen. Okay. Keep going.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, there it is. I didn't have that screen up.
Some of the going in, that the goats and horses, and was breaking the same routes again, coming out, you can see the traffic, 30 minutes.
I plowed the yard and think I'm plowed in town, went back to the yard and thought, I know I plowed here.
Okay, the only the difference is this is Marshall's suggestion that the governing body shall assign salaries prior to the filing of the deadline.
That was Councilman Zipp's
Amendment.
amendment
Okay.
at the last meeting to change the wording from general election to the filing of the primary election.
Okay,
I believe the intent, correct me if I'm wrong, was so anyone that was interested in applying would have already, would know if the changes would be made before they actually,
Correct.
Mhm.
Mhm. Get more people to know them.
so that way people know what their salary might be or what it would be before they even file.
Right.
Okay, yeah. I'm good. So that's the same, so we didn't change anything. or we-
That's what was approved.
Okay, yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
understood.
yeah. This is just, now it's actually written.
Oh,
reflect that.
okay,
That's-
we got it in.
Yes.
Okay, I thought we were doing another change.
No, I'm sorry.
Okay,
No,
excuse
no,
me, I
no.
didn't understand what you were saying.
Yeah.
Because this is what I thought it was. I
Yeah,
thought
no,
there was
that's,
something
yeah.
I missed.
This is what,
Okay,
yeah,
yeah, very good.
sorry.
Yeah. Okay. So that was the change between the first reading and the second reading.
Yes,
Yeah, okay, understand.
sorry about that.
Okay, I thought we was making another change that I missed. Okay. So can I have a motion to approve the second reading?
A second.
Been moved by Councilman Stadler, second by Councilman Harkey, that we approve the second reading. Ordinance 2023-2-11, town officer salaries and wages. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor say aye. Aye. Both same. Motion passed all in the affirmative. Yeah, I got confused. I thought we had another amendment. Or suggested amendment from Marshall or something. Anyway. Appearances by citizens, public presentations. We have none scheduled. You have it? Oh, excuse me, resolution 23-005, half percent excise tax.
So this came about as a proposal with the Economic Committee's recommendations, as well as giving some guidance for the committee as they proceed on how to manage part of this fund. So resolution 23-005, resolution establishing the Shoshoni Economic Development Committee to advise the mayor and the town council on the use of the optional 0.5% excise tax revenues. Whereas the governing body of the town of Shoshoni agreed to a memorandum of understanding on August 17, 2020, to use the revenue generated by the tax for economic development. And whereas the voters of Fremont County enacted an optional 0.5% excise tax in the primary election on August 18, 2020. And whereas a definition for use of the revenue generated by the excise tax is any project which retains or increases employment and or results in a net gain of money into the community. And whereas the governing body committed to establishing an economic committee to guide the governing body on which economic development projects to utilize tax revenues and to provide fiscal guidance on the funds. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the governing body of the town of Shoshoni, Wyoming, that the town of Shoshoni will direct the Economic Development Committee to advise the mayor and council on priorities for the use of revenues generated by the optional 0.5% excise tax revenues, and be it further resolved, the committee will consist of at least 5 members of qualified individuals appointed by the mayor with the advice and consent of the governing body. And be it further resolved, the committee will advertise and seek applications for organizations and or individuals hosting events in Shoshoni and utilize up to 20% of received revenues from the 1/2 excise tax for events with an increased gain in economic activity in Shoshoni. And be it further resolved that the committee will develop applications, bylaws, and provide for a regular meeting schedule.
Can I have a motion to approve in a second, then we can go into discussion.
Motion.
Been moved by Councilman Harkey. Can I get a second? In second by Councilman Stetler. Discussion. Any questions on this?
That tax will bring it about how much totally?
Between 36 to 40,000, give or take, depending on tax receipts for the year.
So 20% of 40 is 8,000
Approximately. And it's up to, it doesn't.
up to, that's what I'm saying, up
Yeah.
to.
And basically, this gives the committee, some guidance to look at some of the funding for that as one of the recommendations, but this kind of codifies it. And it's very specific, though, that it's for events that bring business activity to town, whether it be the flywheelers, that whatever, those types of things.
I know people have moved to this town because they went to an event in this town and decided.
And the
So
beauty,
I believe that falls under the.
Yep. and the beauty of it, though, is that the economic monies, it's not just like TAD is very restricted, on advertising and things like that. This is,
Well, I think Leah made a pretty good point. I don't know if she meant to. When she said that with TAD money, I cannot use that money. I cannot get TAD money to repaint my sign at my quilt shop. But with the economic development money, I could. I could get new signs for an event for the quilt shop. So I like leaving it separate for that reason.
Oh, we have to leave it separate.
yep. And yeah, I think when I was explaining, I think we kind of got intermixed a little bit. It was, when I said matching funds, it wasn't direct match. It was two different pots.
Yeah, but
There was like
that was never
three
the
So that
conversations
was
going on.
my fault by you. But, and this allows for.
Gives a little guidance to do similar things.
Correct, and it keeps that other 80%, because obviously we still want to maybe for a new business or an existing business, things
For
like
somebody to
that. It's
paint their
not,
signs.
exactly. So it's not taking all the money, it's just up to 20% can go to these types of things.
And put the limit on it, but it allows some flexibility, allows some guidance.
I like it.
So I think this was a little bit more better explained
Yeah,
than
that's
the first time.
And this is better organization than just a appointed, committee. This gives more structure,
Appointed committee with guidance.
yeah, with guidance, and this is more structure. And it just, the other municipalities are doing something similar.
Yeah.
So, and we wanted to, we support some of the things this 20% would, definitely stimulate
Up to 20%.
up to 20%. And that can definitely be part of economic development, and we feel that we should look at that. But Chris and I hammered this out.
By Chris, you mean Chris.
Huh?
Well,
I
he
said
had,
by Chris and you meant Chris.
I'm
sorry.
he had the gavel.
It was my suggestion, and yeah.
I did tease them.
We worked on,
We did work on this together.
once we were able to explain kind of what we were talking about after that.
That clears your thought process up quite substantially.
Yeah.
So I move we accept resolution 23-005. Economic Committee report.
Been moved. Can I get a second? Yeah, got a second to approve resolution 23-005, 0.5% excise tax as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Both same. Motion passed. Thank you. Gary, do you have anything? Do we have any appearances? We have none scheduled?
No.
Unfinished business, economic committee report. Who's giving the report?
So I guess I'll carry on with that one. Part of that recommendation one was, I think, cleared up now with that resolution. The other part was the 80% that up to, I guess, the other monies that are not included on that resolution. We want to clarify that promoting businesses that want to move here, improving existing businesses, as well as for economic benefit for the town, was what we had talked about as a recommendation for the committee to use that remaining majority of the money of the economic development tax for. But we haven't put out any applications, so now that I think we got that first part figured out. So the other recommendation was that we seek applications for improvement of existing businesses as well as new businesses, and try and work with the economic committee to clarify what on the applications exactly what they're applying for. But that was, I think, in concert with the mayor and I talked about, is exactly, we're on the same page as far as getting that done. So I think that's also been resolved now too, is putting that application out as a priority from the economic committee recommendation for those projects. And then the last part, I believe, was the TAD funding. And I know that on the committee, we're talking about, and that's where things got mixed up a little bit. So some of the projects that we did receive applications for would be able to fall under economic activity, even though this first go around was kind of thrown together. So we haven't had everything out there yet. So at this time, we were looking at the applications that were received and being able to get those funded.
When I looked at the applications, there's one for a business requesting assistance for advertising. There's another one requesting a nonprofit requesting for advertising. And I was wondering, I put that business one in the economic development versus the TAD money. That's how I look at it.
And I think, and that's, yeah, so that's, I would ask that maybe we set another meeting with the economic committee, and with this, now that we have some guidance on that, and then come back with specific recommendations for each application. If this one we believe would only fit under TAD, and then whatever the merits are, passing, whatever the recommendation is given to council, and then council votes on it. But some of the applications, like you said, might fall under economic development money, and we could make that recommendation from the committee to the council, and at the next meeting, actually have those recommendations, and then you can have some dollar amounts, so you know exactly what is each fund, and not, instead of just a blanket approval.
And there could even be some that you might figure out where you want to put them. They would actually fit in either one.
But what I just,
Yeah.
my mind was the one with the business requesting assistance with advertising.
And that, and some of those could go fit in both.
Right.
And I guess the question for the committee to make recommendations would be to look at it and say, well, if we have a lot of money here and we have only so much here, but this TAD money is very specific on certain things.
That's what I was thinking.
Would it be better to shift it over, since it can fit both, to allow more TAD money to be available?
Why do you see the
Right.
TAD money helping? for
Correct.
The business advertising.
So that, I
Yeah.
think, that's,
So
that
we're on the
was,
same page, I think.
and that's, so those are the recommendations, and I think so. We got set up a meeting and for the next council meeting, and now we know what we're doing. We'll get this done.
Do we feel, again, I'll ask the question, do we have any of the TAD funding that needs to be approved sooner than the next 2 or 3 weeks? That would be a question. Is any of them out there? As long as we're good, make sure we're not delaying something that needs.
One concern was with the concerts and stuff. if they need to put any money down. I don't know if they communicated
Well-
that to you or.
So, and that's where some of this, open this back up, because whenever all these applications first came in, the only funding source we had was
Was.
TAD.
But I didn't, what I was saying is if you'd heard of any time restriction as far as the bookings, or if we're okay for 2 weeks.
We're okay for 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's what I was,
That was my only question.
that was my concern.
As far as I'm aware, everyone else is good, but I don't know on some of the other events that might, of the TAD, that they might need something. I don't know if the farmer's market, she's not here to speak on that one. Oh, yeah, she's on. Thank you. They haven't indicated that they need it right now. I haven't heard anything.
Yeah.
That 2 weeks. I don't know if that would,
Maybe we could stretch the money better in 2 weeks.
I think.
Yeah, that was my thought.
I think the committee sitting down and going over everything and actually having the different things could come up with some good recommendations.
Maybe you didn't explain well, but that's what I was trying to explain.
That's what I thought you were saying.
Yeah.
Kind of clear.
Yeah. Yeah, appreciate it. So do you think in 2 weeks we'll schedule another economic
Within 2 weeks. we will.
You'll have a meeting and you'll have a report to us.
And we'll, whatever we come up with the recommendations for each
Sure.
application as far as status, whether it's TAD or this,
Okay.
and then the amount, so you have some actual dollar amounts for the total
And
funds and stuff.
I'm pretty sure we've all at this point read through all the applications. So I don't know that you would need to send those.
But
I mean, we've all read them and then you just tell,
but I think just having,
just tell us where you wanna, your recommendation. I
Or what
mean,
we
I've
think.
read them all, so you don't need to send them to me again.
Yeah.
Where I was going.
but I think that would more evenly distribute the money, since we have a second
I
pot of
think
money
you're
now.
right.
That would
Or
make it
My
better.
question is, should we use all of the TAD money first? Is what happens if we don't use all the TAD money, is my question.
Then
Does it
it
go
would,
back?
no, it roll over.
Okay,
I mean,
you answer that question.
Does the
yeah, and there may be someone that applies later that we could use it on
Yeah, okay.
that doesn't.
I didn't know what happened to it if we didn't use it all. Sometimes it goes back to the pot.
right, yeah, in this case, it just rolled back.
Does the same go for the town sand?
Yeah,
But- Oh, sorry.
it continues to
To grow.
to grow. And then, talk on the half cent, some of this, this bring this, that we might even try to make some of that in a revolving fund where it's at a 0%, 1%, 2% loan, or some of that, instead of just being all grants where a certain, can be paid back if we help a business out. And then that maybe that helps that grow.
Right.
There's only one other county, Goshen County, in the state of Wyoming that has this half cent.
Okay.
And they're doing that very successfully over there.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, we don't get the money that Lander, Du Bois, especially Lander and Riverton gets, or the county. But if we can help maybe build this, over years, I mean, long probably after we're all gone, or when young people like you and Tammy and Mike still be around, me and Bob. But anyway, it could build up to even help more people. And there's certain projects that could probably work on. There'll be certain projects that won't. There may be projects that fail, we think it will work, that won't work on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I just sort of want to throw that out there for the thought process when we're looking at a potential,
Yeah.
and that the committee would look at something like that also. Where to helping hand, but once they get going, can pay it back at very low interest,
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
But they're, like I said, Goshen has done that very successfully. Goshen County has. So, anyway, we ready to move on? Thanks for the report, Chris. Appreciate it. Cleared up to me, clear to me. Thanks. Guess move on down to department head report, police department. It would be Chief Kojai again.
So we actually had a fairly decent January as far as call volume compared to last 3 years, actually. I think a lot of it, obviously, the weather has kind of tamped a lot of stuff down that we didn't have so much of. But the biggest thing was we're having a reduction in dog calls and dog issues, but we're still having an issue with it. It isn't reflective on this report, but a lot of the dogs are out running around, and then we try to catch them, and they run back home. Luckily,
Their owner is.
yeah, they know who their owner is. But we did pass that ordinance to increase the potential fines or penalties for not taking care of people's dogs. The one thing that I do have an issue with is dogs barking at night. Again, it's not reflective on the report, but it is very annoying. And that is going to be something that we're going to start banging on people's doors. If your dog's barking at 11:30 at night, then we're going to come knock at your door. Because you can hear it across town, it echoes. And it, it's just a little bit of courtesy, I think, not leaving your dog barking for everybody else, trying to sleep. And there is a nuisance ordinance that does address that already on the books. We did have a couple of warrant arrests as well as one DUI. That we also had, I'll be talking with the sheriff's office. We had multiple radar reports that we were assisting on. All three of them ended up crashing before they made it to Shoshoni while we were waiting for it to get here. One was a resident of Shoshoni, the other had connections to Shoshoni. And I think we can do a better job with knowing, instead of waiting for something to come and then have it wreck. I think there's a little bit of wiggle room for public safety that we can do better and try and interject or interdict before that happens in the future. Again, that's not reflective on this report either, since it didn't make it here.
Were you saying the ready report, were they traveling to Shoshoni
From various ways.
from various ways?
And they crashed before they got here. Luckily, nobody was seriously injured, but I think that
I sat on the causeway for an hour and a half waiting.
that was one of them.
Yeah.
And
I drove the garbage truck straight through.
yeah. But I think in the, because we are such an isolated, when I say isolated, it's such a large county and there's only so much resources. I think pulling the resources together and being more proactive when we know there's a problem, instead of being wait and hope nothing happens. I think there's a better approach that we can look at doing. So I'll be working on that with the other law enforcement agencies and see if we can come up with something. We did finally get our Tahoe, the full K9. So the Explorer is now our spare vehicle. So that one will be able to be utilized as a dual purpose, whether it's a K9 or a regular officer's spare. We are still filling the last position with part-time help. So we're getting through with that, but we hope to find a candidate and screen them before summer. So we'll be trying to search for that to get a more permanent solution than just using temporary officers for that position.
With the temporary officers, we're pretty fortunate. We have some pretty good ones
Yes, we do.
and they seem to be doing well.
But ideally, they would be as an emergency use instead of a
Right, correct.
continuous use. So that's the objective this spring, is to start looking at recruiting again for that position.
So what's your status? And you have 2 full-time?
Yep. we have 3 positions, but only 2 currently because the other part-time guys are filling it. One from,
How many do you staff total? There 5 officers?
with the
including you?
with the SRO, and then we have a part-time, full-time, part-time, and then 2 full-time. Only one's filled currently,
Steve part-time?
and he's one of the
He's
part-time.
nighttime.
Yeah, he's, yeah. But, you know, the problem is that those guys are working secondary jobs, helping us out, but as summer gets closer, they're gonna obviously want to have time off and be busy, and we need to have a permanent solution for that. So, and obviously, we'll try and target pre-qualified or pre-certified experienced officers to, kind of like we did with Tony in my health patrol. So.
Any questions for the chief? Any more? Go to the round table. Mike,
I don't have anything.
stand warm.
I got thermals. I hate winter.
I hate this one.
We push so much snow.
Yeah, there's been a while since we've seen this snow piled up around Shoshoni.
Yeah.
Bob, anything?
I'm looking towards the spring when it melts. And a couple, I don't know, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, both Tammy and I had the same questions. Does somebody know how to run the grader? Has that been taken care of?
Yes, however, it gelled up and we're at that last freeze, and so we have not been able to get it fired up yet.
Okay, I know they had dump trucks out with a blade on it, but I just one about,
But that's why
that
the
blade
grader-
down, so when they get to the streets.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, with our guys that are operators have been getting, so they've got some training last fall. And we planned to continue their learning, they're doing well.
But, I mean, this is a rough winter on everybody.
Yeah.
They worked hard. So that was my only question.
I don't maybe know if they got it fired back up after.
I haven't talked to Mike since Friday about it. They were. I gave him a few pointers on what needed to be done to get it running, because I've had experience with that, but they were working on to get the diesel gelled up in the tank. And Mike can probably give a better idea than me as well, but anyway, you know, sometimes you gotta remove that fuel and replace it with good. I know they sell number one at co-op for sure.
Which I know
And
a
they're
guy
getting,
who gelled up running straight number 1.
huh?
I know a guy who gelled up, or who filled up with that number 1 tank at co-op and gelled before he got home.
And that's bad. You know, another thing, I think, a lot of my experience with number one, I'm older than most guys you run. But I don't know if all this emission stuff, the new fuel is as good as what we used to get. Cause number one fuel now, I was supposed to start cloud nine, if I remember correctly. Now it's like 40, only 40 below, it'll supposedly start messing up.
Coincidentally, it was.
That's 40 below, yeah. But the old fuel at 40 below didn't back in 1980s.
Gasoline doesn't gel in our diesel. That's good news. That's about at the point we're at. When our 911 gels, we haven't hit that point yet, but we just drink it like candy now.
Oh, yeah, if that 911 works good. I twice had my pickup gel on me, both were 40 below. A little episode, that one it gelled, but kind of stayed running. The other one, it gelled up while I was idling, warming the truck up. It died and it'd start and die, start and die, start and die. So I took a weed burner. Children don't do this at home, but, and put it underneath, built a tarp around my truck and turned the weed burner, and you got plastic fuel tanks, so you don't want to get it too close. But anyway, I got my diesel nice and hot, had plenty of 911 and power service in it, started and ran real good. I got the diesel fuel and I had enough 911 power service kept the thing running. But. Yep,
Mhm.
but we used to, I know when we, bad winter, take fuel trucks, alongside the highway up and down. Go out to the weed burner and heat their aluminum tanks. You had to be careful, I learned, because it'll get hot on the bottom, then belts blow out the top. I learned that trick once.
One set up.
So be sure to,
I've done that one.
but anyway. But the main thing was get it fluid where you could pump it out of there so you could pump good fuel in. Tammy,
Yesterday I got a tour through Fastlands by Tim and Monica and Angela. I'm impressed.
yes,
It is very nice. It's gonna be great for Shoshoni. That's all I got.
now they're hoping soft opening March 15th-ish.
Yep. Yep.
Jake,
Not a whole lot. Just kind of trying to hang in there till spring.
yeah. You're inside
We're inside. We have a toilet, a shower, and a sink and heat.
and heat in your new house.
We've abandoned ship on the RV, and as soon as it thaws out, we're gonna move that and have those along there.
That's been quite an adventure for you and your family.
Yeah, it's been a good winter to do it too.
Definitely can pick it.
But I'm thankful for the opportunity to prove ourselves as tough.
Yeah.
You gotta be if you're living in that RV at -40.
Yeah.
A motor coach, I guess. is
Yeah. The motor coach. Yes.
Yeah, we're in and we're doing well and it's still long ways to go, but now it can be a live-in work in progress.
Yes. Well, congratulations. It's been a good, you've done well.
Survived.
Uh, Touch base just a little bit on town hall remodel. We had our walkthrough. Had quite a few contractors show up. I was told we had 7 prime contractors. Don't know how many bid the job, but that's a pretty good showing. So, we're hoping by next fall, we'll be moved in there. We will see how our bids come out. I know we gave a few options, maybe some money saving options. Then we'll just have to look and see how our bids come out. But like I said, it was 7 general contractors, so that we've got some interest in what more than we did last time. So maybe that'll reflect a more competitive bidding.
And we got the bids out for the sewer contractor.
Yeah, and on our sewer, our west side expansion, those bids are out. In fact, that walkthrough's coming on that.
This week, isn't it?
Yeah, next week, I believe. Next week on that and so,
Forget about sewer.
and then it's either the 27th or 28th. We'll have a SLIB meeting, go down there for what we have applied for our water. Yes. We've got a date from them of either the 27th or 28th. They didn't specify which date. That's either a Thursday or Friday, if I remember correctly.
Monday or Tuesday.
Or Monday, Tuesday, yeah, the other way around. The beginning of the week instead of the end. Yeah, Monday, Tuesday, 8th, yeah, 20, yeah. So that would 2 weeks. 2 weeks. So, and today is Valentine's Day. Hallelujah.
Also my 25th wedding anniversary.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Tell my wife, happy anniversary. She's at work though.
So are you.
Yeah, so we got quite a bit going on here in the next couple of weeks. So, yeah, the 28th, it's another council meeting.
Correct. That's why.
Yeah, that's. Maybe it'll be the 27th, I don't know, but that was the dates we've gotten from Slim on that. That'll be definitely something, at least I will need to attend.
Yeah.
Yeah. But other than that, things are, I believe, going good. So can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
Been moved by Councilwoman Harkey that we adjourn. Can I get a second?
Second.
Well, I was worried we weren't going to get one. Second from Councilman Demick. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Both same. Meeting adjourned at 8:06. Thanks, everybody, for showing up. Thanks, Gary, for showing up. I seen plowing the road by your house, but then it snowed later. How'd you get that done?
Yeah, I said no.
You put a fifth of whiskey on your mailbox? That's what my grandfather used to do out at the ranch. Get the county operator to clean out his driveway.
And I don't think she,
Well, I'm adopted. Because she doesn't have the money.
that's exactly what I was gonna say. My opinion, she's not fit to take care of it. In her current state. But yeah.
Yeah, wife would get out there shoveling the snow.
Unfortunately, that poor dog destroyed that house.
Oh, yeah.
It's on the bus route.
Oh,
Yeah, it was, yes. No, yeah, that's the, yeah.
seems like a sweet dog, man.
Yeah.
Really did.
I mean, it could be trained really easy.
Well, yeah, I mean, the owner that actually